YAM Time is brought to you by Sainey Media.
Welcome back to YAM Time, episode 3. You are here with your host, the great Zeezy Huncho, alongside Hoopopotamus and Super Saiyan Sainey. Listen, if you were a fan of our old show, Le Podcast, you would know that anytime Zeezy Huncho starts off the episode, he's got to get something off, all right? It can either be something good or it can be something bad. Usually it's something bad, so let's talk about it. 52. That's the magic number today. All right. Now, of course, this is being recorded the day after the day after the worst Sunday of my entire life. But whatever.
You're hearing this on a Tuesday.
Call that the Boston Massacre.
I understand your frustration, so I'm not gonna hold you to this mistake. But this is episode 4.
I was gonna say I can tell he's mad because he messed that up.
Episode 4. You see what I'm saying? I'm discombobulated. I am traumatized right now. Do y'all understand? Y'all don't understand. This is how bad it is. And I was going to tell y'all this. I was going to text y'all this morning when I was at work. But I was like, oh, you know what? I'm going to save it for the show. Y'all don't understand what happened to me yesterday. First of all,
Bro.
Worst Sunday of my life, right? I go to sleep mad as hell. I went to bed mad as hell. I kid you not. I had a nightmare. But here's the thing. Y'all know when y'all have dreams, right? And it takes you a second, it takes you a second to realize you're in the dream.
Man saw a deuce in his sleep.
Oh, I kid you not. Fell asleep, right? I start dreaming, and I realize I'm in my dream. I look to the right, I look to the left. All I see is people. They're cheering. They're also wearing green. I look forward, it's that damn leprechaun. Kid you not, bro. On me. It was the leprechaun. I had a dream. I went to bed thinking about it. Had a nightmare that I was at the game witnessing it in person. Like, that's how bad it was. Oh my God. Ladies and gentlemen, today, we're going to be talking about pretenders or contenders in the Western Conference. And let me tell you, this is going to be an interesting one. I'm going to let Sainey.
That's a great segue.
Because Z's acting like he's got a right to be mad.
Yeah.
What's it like to be a Knicks fan right now?
Hey.
Tell me that. Riddle me that.
Okay, fair point.
Hey, listen to both of you, okay?
Julius Randle. Mitchell Robinson. OG Anunoby. Jalen Brunson.
4 stars.
None of them will be there when I attend the Knicks Hawks game tomorrow.
Oh my God.
0 of them.
And Trey ain't gonna be there. You coming to see DeJounte Murray go at it against Dante DiVincenzo. Let's go.
Hey. When Hoop goes to a restaurant, the only thing he gets is the main course. He never gets starters.
That's gotta make
I had to pull a dad joke.
Nah, he bad as hell.
I had to pull a dad joke on you. Anyway, before we get started on the episode, I know we're delaying this. I'll explain it in a sec. If you didn't listen to the last episode, make sure to tune into that one. That was a banger. Z, you're mad about losing by 52 to a Boston Celtics team, the Avengers. Right, the modern day Avengers. Imagine how I felt when Oklahoma lost by 73 to the Memphis Grizzlies.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Without John Morant.
Oh my God, I forgot about that. I'm sorry, both of y'all.
Bro,
I'm sorry.
So I think, Hoop, you're out here like, what's it like to be a Knicks fan? What's it like to be me? What's it like to be me?
Is this a contest?
Is this a contest? I am enjoying being the 1 seed 100%. Okay, and we beat the Suns yesterday. But imagine watching Yusuf Nurkic.
Oh, be quiet.
Grab 31 rebounds.
You know what it's like to have Julius Randle as your favorite basketball player?
Do you
know how difficult that is?
Do you know what it's
for
like to watch
my
Kevin
state
Durant
of mind?
go to the Golden State Warriors after being down 3-1?
Sainey, I don't know what the playoffs are.
Okay, fair point.
You do.
Honestly.
You do.
As a 20-year-old.
You know
yes,
what Trae Young is?
Yes, I do.
You know what Trae Young
is?
As
a 20-year-old.
You know who Trae Young is?
You grew up having something to root for. I grew up watching Ron Baker.
At least you didn't have expectations. I would rather know I'm trash than to literally be a hair away from the finals just for Kevin Durant.
I grew up watching
Mindaugas
Kuzminskas.
Bro, imagine Ron Baker leading you to the Eastern Conference Finals just to join the the Cleveland Cavaliers after the Cavs came back on you. That's how I feel. Okay, imagine Ron Baker left you for a
still
Cavs
got
jersey.
the work without the starters.
True.
Anyway,
True.
what are we doing? So in this episode, if you didn't tune into the last one, basically we're gonna go over every team who is within playoff contention as of March 3rd's games. We're recording this on March 4th, but March 4th's game haven't been played yet. So from the 10 seed to the 1 seed, we're gonna go through every team, and we're gonna say whether they're pretenders or contenders. Now, if you listen to the last episode again, you will know our criteria for what is a contender and what is a pretender. If you are new to this episode, we will quickly go over it for you, but we want to get started on this episode as the West is a lot more packed. Make sure to watch the Eastern episode. I promise you it's a great listen, but I'll start with my credentials. The way I see it is there's way too many teams that could contend, and I don't want to call every team a contender because the reality is every team looks amazing on paper these days. So what I've narrowed it down to are only 2 teams per conference. I only chose 2 teams in the East. I'm only choosing 2 teams in the West. Why? Because only 2 teams can make the conference finals in their respective conference. And I think that is what a true contender is to me, the teams that I think will make it to at least the conference finals. That's not to say that other teams don't have a chance. Obviously, everybody has a chance. Again, this is the most jam-packed playoff run I think we'll ever see. As long, God willing, we don't see too many injuries. Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson. But that's essentially my criteria. I'm only picking 2 teams. I know these guys are a little different, so I'll let them explain.
Hope you got it.
Yeah, I said last episode, like if I see a route to becoming NBA champions in your path, then I consider you to be contending for that title. If I think you don't have a chance, I'm not going to make you a contender. It needs to be something that I can see, and like if someone told me, oh, they won the whole thing, it's like, yeah, I could see that being possible.
Yeah, with me in the last episode, I told y'all that most years I have between 4 to 5 contenders. But in terms of this year, like Sainey alluded to, like the West is just a different beast, like compared to the East. So for me, especially when ranking Western Conference teams, I tend to kind of lean towards Sainey's approach of there's really 2 guys that I can legitimately say, or 2 teams rather, that I can legitimately say, yeah, contenders. Everybody else would be pretenders. And there's some people that are, kind of in the middle, but I'm not ranking that. Today it's going to be 2 teams that I think are pretty much locks for the conference finals, or should be. So there you go.
Do you, and real quick, I know I mentioned this is as of March 3rd's games. That doesn't really matter. I just looked at the standings and realized we basically have the 10 teams that will be in the play-in or playoff set. The Jazz are 5.5 games behind the 10 seed, which is interesting. I didn't think that the race would already be over this early. So we have basically, 90% chance the set teams that are going to make the postseason. Z, I can read them off unless you want to. I have them up here. It's up to you if you want to read them off again. Okay,
you got it, brother.
All right, I'll go first. So you guys can decide who goes first. I'll go last since I'm reading the teams off. But, I mean, we're starting with a banger, the Los Angeles Lakers.
Look. If you're asking me to bet against my precious king, my little bear, if you're asking me to bet against Lapuki, that's crazy. That's crazy. But I'm betting against him. He is pretender.
I don't think there's much to talk about. I think Anthony Davis has been great defensively. They've had D'Angelo Russell look real nice, but if we're banking on LeBron to hit these step back threes from the logo, which is what I've seen in these couple wins that I saw, the one against Kawhi, that was a great game.
That was crazy.
That's not happening. I'm sorry, pretenders.
I do think they're pretenders. But last season was wild that they even made it as far as they did. So obviously it's Braun. I don't think they're a first round exit. I'll give them that much. I think they make it through the play-in. I think they do make it to the second round. I think they get bounced in the second round though, because they're either gonna play. I don't know. I don't know what the seeding will look like depending on. I mean, it's looking like now they'll be an 8 seed. They're going to play the first or second seed. I mean, if it's the Thunder or Timberwolves, honestly, there's a chance they make it to the conference finals, which is actually crazy. But no, I'm not going to say that. Pretenders, and we're going to go to the next team. We talked about them at the start of this episode, the Warriors.
Go ahead, Hoop. Get your spill off.
He
I'ma
knows,
save
like,
mine
we
for
know what the
last.
answer is.
It's
Don't delay
it's
it.
Pretenders.
Tell me why. Tell me why.
I feel like that's not like required of me at this point in time. I'd like to hear you talk.
All right, bet. So let me go ahead. So this is how I see it, right? Of course, this is my team. Of course, off rip, all y'all thinking that I'm gonna be biased, which you're probably right, but we'll see. But for the sake of the show and for the sake of the fact that I know both of these two have them as pretenders, I can see their point. I can't really sit here and say that I have, 45 minutes to an hour of my time to debate these two on it because I see their point. It's weird when you're looking at this team too. Like, I don't know if y'all have really been watching the Warriors, obviously, as much as I have, but they're third in reboundings and rebounding.
I seen that box score against Boston last night, bro.
I'm not listening. Like, there's
You-
no way we're making a case.
they're gonna beat them 4 times out of a 7-game series.
Boston?
All right.
Oh. So so we ain't gonna talk about when Steph put them kids to bed the first time they played, right? When they blew a 15-point lead at Chase Center. We ain't gonna talk about that. When Steph and they was all healthy there, mind you, all healthy. Everybody was there. Unlike last night, no Wiggins, no Podsy, half a Steph. Like, what are we talking about? But it's cool. Let them have a 52. But wait till they see Jimmy. I bet you won't see him in June. I bet you they'll be out by June. They'll be out by May, realistically. But we're not talking about that. We already talked about it. The Warriors are pretenders. I gotta go with it. That's all it is, bro.
That's all I needed to hear.
I gotta say it.
Now,
If you wanted me to like give an explanation, it's the defense. A team that plays defense at not that high a level is
I could
toast
care
in the
less that they're
championship.
cooking right now. They looked much better last season, and they got bounced by the Lakers. Like,
I don't know about that one.
they looked better last season than they do this season.
They won 8. They just won 8 straight road games before they lost
And
to
they
the.
just lost by 52.
Yes, last year they were what below 500 on the road. It was terrible. One of the worst ever. So
What was it?
not to mention the fact that their bench was terrible with Jordan Poole running the unit compared to with Chris Paul, who was back. And at the start of the season when Chris Paul was there, they were, I think, a top 3 bench in the league. So when you look at no, last year's team was completely worse than this one. Not to mention Andrew Wiggins missing time and all that, which he's doing now again for the same reasons. I hope everything's okay, but damn, we need you. 52, bro.
Yeah,
whatever. Let's move on. I'm interested to get to the Mavericks.
Mavericks are the 8th seed.
This is interesting because Sainey, think about it. What if they end up matching up with OKC first round? Well, with Luka versus Shea.
I mean, they're on a losing streak right now. They've been losing a lot of games, have they not? Like, they might drop to the 9 or 10 seed, man. They might not make it out the play-in. If they stay in the play-in, they're not looking good right now. I guess I'm going first since you slid the question to me with Oklahoma. But, I mean, I get they added size with Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, and it looked like it was working out at first. I don't know what's going on with them right now. It's like they have no identity. Like, even though Luka's still doing Luka things, they're just not looking great. And to me, my hot take is they don't make it out the play-in. They're not making the playoffs, in my opinion. I would.
Can you mention the other teams in the play-in picture just for reference?
So the play-in picture are obviously the Lakers, Warriors, Mavericks, and Suns. I see the Suns going through, and I see the Lakers going through. I'll be honest, the Warriors and the Mavericks will not make the playoffs. Those are like if the Suns, if those teams stay in the play-in. I mean, right now the Kings are tied with the Suns, and there's a good chance that the Suns take them over. But even then, like there's not a team that I would put the Mavericks over in the play-in. Like, I think the Mavericks will do the worst in the play-in. I think the Warriors go through over them. I think the Lakers go through over them, and I think the Suns or Kings go through over them. So they are for sure pretenders to me.
Yeah.
I also have them as pretenders. Their defensive rating is something that I thought would improve with the size. Not to say that they can't gain continuity and get a little better. But over the last 10 games, it's been like a bottom 10 defense still.
I just don't think they have enough time to. Like, to your point, like they only had half a season to mesh together, and clearly they're not meshing well.
That's a next year type thing. Another year alive.
Right. But I mean, hey, it's interesting to see. That's another year Luka misses the playoffs.
Don't do that.
2 years in a row. I'm not saying it's a bad thing on his name. I'm saying, does he want to stick around with that Mavericks team?
It's true. Hey, hey, you know who's got a lot of draft picks over here? Hey,
Yeah.
hey.
Yeah, we do. You think you have draft picks? We have draft picks for your draft picks.
Yeah, OKC's the final boss of draft
Yeah,
picks.
like bro, like, these guys talk about draft picks like he has like 7 or 8. We have 7 or 8 this season.
Oh my god! But,
Oh, you just had a child? Can't wait for him to be in an Oklahoma jersey in 20 years. Z, let's hear your opinion.
So with the Mavericks, man, it's weird because they were rolling for a time, didn't they? Win like 7 straight or something like that after the
Yeah,
All-Star
at the beginning
break.
of the season,
It
they
was
were like a top
weird.
3 seed.
Yeah, it's weird. Like but you like Hoop said, the defense did not improve at all to a point, at least to a point where I'm looking at them and saying, okay, now this might be the missing piece to what y'all need with Kyrie and Luka. But role players and good defense might get you to the finals. But what I see from this team, like Sainey said too, is just no identity. Luka went out there the other night, dropped 35, 7, 11, and they lost. And I'm like, yo, Kyrie had 28. And I'm like, yo, you mean to tell me this still isn't enough? Like, damn, who did they play? I don't even know, but I thought they could at least get the win. Point of the matter is that Luka, like you said, this is an interesting like thing because Luka's getting older and this Kyrie experiment, I don't know what the window gap is, like, for the duration of time that they're looking to contend, but within like last year when they did it, missed the playoffs. This year they're struggling in the play, and like Sainey said, like realistically, I agree with them. I think when I look at the Mavericks, I'm like, yeah, I think the Warriors could take the Mavericks out of the playing picture. I think that they could do like the one team between the Phoenix and the Lakers and the Mavericks that I think the Warriors could take out is the Mavericks, like the top of the poll. So I don't know. They're interesting. I thought that the trade deadline was going to be enough, but so far, I'm not really moved. Like pretenders, man. Sorry.
I mean, obviously, I mentioned the next team was going to be the Suns because they're the last team in the play-in, just for reference, and they're tied with the Kings right now. They're both 7.5 games back, but the Phoenix Suns are next. I don't know who wants to go first.
Hoop, you got it. Let me take a swig of my coffee real quick.
Hoop's muted.
Oh, all right. I got it. So, Phoenix. I was just thinking about this before the show started because I was just sitting looking and I was like, pretenders, bro. They're pretenders. Stop. KD said at the start of the season, you can't guard all of us. Fast forward. They're the 7th seed and they're in the play-in tournament. Meanwhile, as a matter of fact, mind you, James Harden comes out the cut like, hey, yo, let me go to LA. Now the Clippers, now he's talking about, if we figure this out, it's going to be a scary sight, whatever. That quote from James Harden, they're the 4th seed. And then KD's quote, they're the 7th seed. And honestly, when you look at the big three, like Beal and Book and KD, it's not really moving me. Like let's be real. Out of all of KD's big threes, where would him, Book, and Bradley Beal rank? And I know it's only been a handful of games, but dude, like this unit isn't really moving me. And I don't know if it's the pieces or whatever, but like D Book and KD can go for 25 plus. Bradley Beal have 18 and they lose. Like it's weird. Like I don't know.
Here's the thing. I do like that trio, like KD trio you bring up. Like when we historically look at all the trios that Kevin Durant's been a part of, we're not gonna mention like his 2014 one, like him, Jeremy Lamb, and Kendrick Perkins. Like no, like his actual like solidified like 3 stars. The Suns ones is by far the worst trio he's been a part of. I would take the Nets, Kyrie, Harden over it. I would take the Warriors obviously over it, and I would take the OKC, Russ, him, and Harden over it, even like the young ones, right? And they're pretenders to me because I think, like you said, like they the fact that they can all go off and they're still such a. I mean, they've had a top 3 defense, to be fair. I think either since the start of the year or since the All-Star break, like they have been much better. But it's a fact that I don't see it translating in the playoffs. I don't see them translating in the playoffs. Like, I mean, we saw it last year too. They got spanked by the Nuggets, right? I think they once again get spanked by the Nuggets if they were to face off against a team like that. And they'll essentially have to because, again, they're such a low seed. So, they're pretenders to me.
They just don't have like a table setter.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, that's a good,
Because I've seen games where Book has rattled off 10 straight late 4th and still lose. Like all this like ISO gang stuff is great,
right?
But they don't have a formula. It's kind of just like an attack. It's not really orderly, if that makes sense. And with their like with the way they're starting to play some defense, and you see kind of the squad they have, which is so offensively tailored. It's like the one thing you could point out to say they don't have is, well, first off, I think they could use more like athletic defenders.
Mm-hmm.
Because a lineup of, if you're using Beal, Book, KD, Grayson Allen, Nurkic, there's no one that jumps off the page in terms of someone playing one-on-one defense to really stop someone. I think it would be more of an effort team thing, which they'd need to, really lock in the playoffs, assuming Bradley Beal is actually healthy.
Very true. Very true.
But even with Grayson Allen playing some of the best role player basketball we've ever seen, like it's not translating into wins. So why would it in the playoffs?
Yeah. And another thing too, when I look at this team, I'm just like, dude, like you said, they don't have an offensive game plan that just you can just identify and you can say, okay, this might work. Like what? Case in point, how many times has Devin Booker this year had over 40 and they lost? There was a point for like a 1 to 2 week stretch where I remember he had like, I think he had a 50-point game and they lost. And I was like, damn. And then a few days later, he had 45 plus or something and they lost again. And I'm like, yo. So like they've been able to kind of stay afloat in a way. And I mean, all the credit to him. Yusuf Nurkic had 31 rebounds last night. They lost, but still good stuff. But like you said, if they match up with the Denver Nuggets and it's useless Nurkic versus Nikola Jokic, barbecue chicken, bro. What you mean? Go feed my horse when I'm done with you. Like, what are we doing? Like,
useless Nurkic is one of the most disrespectful nicknames I've heard in my life.
Sorry, Yusuf. He had 31 rebounds. Stop playing with him. But against Jokic, it's useless. It's not gonna be nothing. Like Jokic's gonna have his 45 and his 15 and his 15, and then Yusuf Nurkic's gonna have his 11, 9 boards and 3.8 assists. Like it's nothing. This is barbecue chicken. So yeah. Let's move on to the Kings, bro.
Kings. Yeah. Kings are next. Whoever wants to go first.
Pretenders. We're in agreement.
I have Pretenders too. I was gonna pull up some quick facts about them. Why I think they're Pretenders, but okay, yeah, Pretenders. Do we even really have to explain that?
I mean, I'm pretty sure when I did the research like a week ago, their defense was booty, but I just know they haven't been consistent whatsoever.
Right.
Just like really bad losses.
Right.
Also, not to mention Sabonis struggled to translate to the playoffs last year. I think it's just a no-brainer. Pretender.
Yeah,
I agree.
For now.
Malik Monk is also our generation's J.R. Smith.
J.R. Smith. I was just gonna say that.
I checked the box score. I saw he had 40 off the bench. I was like, no way.
And all in the fourth quarter or something. I was like, what? He had like 2 points in the first half, and then 2 minutes into 2 minutes left in the third, he just scores 35. I mean, there was OT as well, but I mean, still very impressive. Pelicans are next.
This is interesting.
This is where it gets interesting. Yeah, I think these next 5 teams are very interesting.
I think this is where hot takes come into play. I don't know if you guys have watched all that much Zion. Obviously, he has not had, I mean, just thinking of it, not much, if at all, playoff experience. Wasn't he hurt their last semi-deep run with the whole Alvarado hype and all that?
Yep.
In terms of him translating to the playoffs, I'm not going to say that he can be completely stopped, but in a half-court setting where he is not exactly a finesse player, but he's also not exactly a post-up player. I know a whole lot about that as someone who has watched the pre-2024 Julius Randle. I'm not again, someone who's very predominantly left-handed. I don't know if Zion can transform into this best player on the court in a playoff game. And BI is also on and off with the shot selection and, as far as that goes. I don't think they have the closer that these other West teams have. If you're looking at top seeds, a Shea, a Jokic, you know what I mean?
I feel that.
To me, instantly, they're Pretenders. And they're a great team, but again, I have to stay strict to my criteria, which is the main reasoning. I only have 2 teams that are going to make it through, and my 2 teams are better than what the Pelicans are. So I'm going to say Pretender.
Yeah, and for me, it's like this is one of those teams where it's like a sneaky type team. Like, because if all goes right with what this team, like you've seen with this team last year, if everything goes right, Zion's healthy, he's playing great, they're playing great, BI, CJ, everybody's rolling, whatever, they can be at the top of a conference. But then when Zion goes down, they can trickle all the way down and then have a mediocre rest of the season, right? This year, it's like everything's kind of been balanced. They've been kind of not like treading water, but like they've just been kind of chilling, like floating around, not really falling too much into the play-in. And if they did, they quickly got out and they're chilling, right? But everything, like I said, has to go right for this team. Zion's got to be healthy. We haven't seen him in the playoffs. We've seen CJ McCollum in the playoffs numerous years. We've seen Brandon Ingram, who is a guy. I saw this this post earlier. It said, name an NBA player you were convinced would be a superstar but never panned out. The first person that came to my mind, Brandon Ingram. I thought Brandon Ingram was the second coming of Kevin Durant. And so far, it's not like he's been trash or anything, but it's like you looked at how young like Zion was coming into this team, and you thought, okay, him, Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, veteran, like all these things, but it's not as sustainable as we thought it'd be. So for that,
BI was nice in his playoff debut.
He was. See what I'm saying? So like, but the thing is, they just don't like. I just don't see this being their year. That's how I see it. Could they make it out the first round? Yes.
And
For
it's
sure.
interesting too because it seems like they have all the pieces, right?
It
Like
does.
they have a
It does.
superstar in Zion. They have good
Mhm.
star backup with like Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum. They have a very good bench. They have shooters on like
Good
Jonas
defense.
Valanciunas. They
Good
have great-
defense.
Like they in
Herb
theory,
Jones as well.
They in theory have everything you need to be an NBA championship team, but it's just the NBA these days, man.
I don't see it with Zion personally.
Yeah, they if they swapped out Zion for another superstar, that's a different story.
Yeah, I agree.
But we're going into a very interesting team now, the Clippers.
Contenders.
Contenders.
That's the easiest answer I have, bro. They took the Suns to they put the Suns on the brink of elimination with only Russ. Now imagine you add Harden and who's notorious.
Don't mention him. There's no need to mention him. There's only one name you got.
I was gonna bring it up. Let me finish.
There's only one name you need to.
Let me finish. Imagine putting Harden as the table setter for a guy like Kawhi Leonard. Like that is going to be very interesting for me to watch. James Harden, by far. I mean, I guess it's kind of disrespectful to Tony Parker, but Tony Parker to me is more of a scorer. James Harden, by far, is the best playmaker Kawhi has had beside him. I think we can agree on that.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Now imagine James Harden does not have the pressure of scoring. They win games when James Harden scores 4 points, right?
Exactly.
Like I've seen James Harden, his first basket was a 3-pointer to win the game. Like there's games where James Harden can completely ghost and do those certain games we've seen James Harden do in the past, right? We're used to James Harden blanking out, but they still are winning games. James Harden, all he needs to do is table set for guys like Kawhi and PG, and then look at their second unit. Russ and Norman Powell leading that second unit. Westbrook in the playoffs, dog.
I was gonna say,
Dog.
I am loving this new, not want to be disrespectful, say role player Russ, but like Russ in a role as opposed to like he is like must watch TV. Yes,
Dog. Because,
yes.
bro, imagine taking a ball of energy
Yes,
that usually is supposed to go
for a couple minutes
for 35 minutes and saying, hey, you only get 10 minutes now to let out this energy. Bro,
Yeah.
every play, and he fractured his hand, but good news, he's back before the playoffs. Like that's what they're expecting. So he will be back hopefully for the playoffs as long as everything goes well. Hopefully.
Yeah.
But bro, that is a nasty team. And that's my favorite team. That's my favorite out the West.
So
That is my favorite out the West.
So I'm gonna say
Wait, have we ever seen Kawhi play this much regular season basketball? Sorry to cut you off, but like
I don't remember the last time. I
I'm
genuinely don't.
I have a theory, like he always had those degenerative knees. I don't know if he's just being quiet about the cure they had, because I don't see him coming out and saying anything. He's like, oh yeah, my knees are fine now. He'll just play all 82 or whatever. I know he sat out a couple already. But it's all gas, no brakes. Like he's played this long with nothing. just
I
like
love it.
a rest day or something.
I'm telling you, Steve Ballmer took some of that Microsoft money and installed Windows 11 in Kawhi Leonard's knees. The Terminator. Okay, they updated his knees. They put a new graphics card in it, and now Kawhi is back to the Kawhi we love. I haven't even mentioned Paul George yet.
We ain't got to.
I haven't
We already
even
know
mentioned Paul
playoff P
George.
gonna give to
This
us.
is their
Stop
year.
playing with him.
This is their year. This is Mason Plumlee's year. But I think we're all in agreement, and we can move on to the top 3.
Hold on. Before we do, let me just give my spill on the Clippers real quick, because y'all know how my history with James Harden, right? Y'all know. So here's how I look at it. James Harden is in heaven right now, bro. He's in heaven. You understand what I'm saying? Here's why. Because James Harden, like Sainey just said, is in a position where he can go out there and completely shit the bed, and they win. And they win. Why? Because they have Terminator X Kawhi Leonard. They got Paul George, who is cooking listening to Erica Badu or Lauryn Hill or something. I don't know. But the point of the matter is, they got Russell Westbrook, like y'all said, in a role off the bench. This is why I love Russell Westbrook, because I knew that Russ was eventually going to have to come to a point. Even when I was in like 8th grade, I was like, Russell Westbrook, when he was athletic as hell, I was like, Russell Westbrook is going to get to a point where his athleticism is going to dwindle down a little bit, but the energy that he provides is what's going to keep him playing still the same minutes, roughly. You know what I'm saying? Like, still being an important role. Mason Plumlee. That's enough. Norman Powell. Love him. Love Norman, right? Here's my thing, though. They're contenders, but they're not my favorites. They're contenders because I look at this team and I say, top to bottom, this is a Western Conference Finals team for sure. Like, and you got Kawhi playing every damn game. Like, it's just you can see it. You can see the formula. You can see the system, or however you want to call it. You can see it. But then you got another one that we're gonna get to in a little bit. We got something that they got some over there that they can't handle with a high altitude. They can't do it. They can't do it.
I mean, going into the 3rd seed now, the Denver Nuggets.
That's what
I'll
I'm talking
first. I'll go first then if we're gonna be quiet. My last contender. So we're gonna have a little chat about the top 2 seeds, especially about the number 1 seed. Number 1 seed. But the Denver Nuggets, obviously they're contenders. You are ridiculous if you think that they're not contenders. This is Jokic we're talking about. This is a team that is essentially the exact same team that went to the finals minus Bruce Brown.
Bruce Brown.
Yeah.
Yep.
And like whatever. I just saw Michael Porter Jr. go 10 for 10 and have 4 assists. You know what I mean? Like, there's some new things happening in Denver. Jokic is as good as ever. They're contenders. That's an easy question. That's an easy answer for me.
Actually,
he know. But that's what I was saying.
Playoff Jamal didn't kick in yet.
True. For as good as the Clippers are, like I said, bro, they don't have anybody to answer the best player in the conference. Like, they got nobody to stop that.
I'll argue that Kawhi's the best player when it comes to playoff time in the world.
I like it. I'm a fan of it. If he's not my number 1, he's my number 2. Like, but I look at Jokic and I'm like, bro.
I mean, call me crazy, but I think that I'm not saying he's the same level defensively as he was with the Spurs, but he's looked better defensively.
I don't think
when he first started in the
ever
Clippers jersey.
Yeah,
like, I know he kind of took a more offensive route when he got to the Raptors and the Clippers, whatever. But defensively, he looks amazing.
Hey, I'm a Kawhi super fan. I'm not sure if I'm putting him over Jokic, but I'm putting him over Giannis. I'm putting him over Tatum. I'm putting him over, I don't know who else. Embiid. Healthy Embiid is tough.
Healthy Embiid is.
We haven't really seen a healthy Embiid in the playoffs, but like
that
you get the point. You get the point.
Healthy Kawhi to me.
Healthy Kawhi is a different.
Healthy Kawhi to me. The reason I put him over, player for player, Jokic is better. But look at the team around Kawhi. This is Kawhi's dream team. I think that this team fits perfectly together. I know people really hated on them at the beginning, bro. I'm telling you, it's going to be very hard to stop the Clippers. Very hard.
I agree.
But let's go into the top 2 seeds. Timberwolves is the number 2 seed right now. Nuggets and Timberwolves are only half a game behind. So by the time you listen to this, the rankings could be different. I mean, I'll start again. The Wolves are pretenders to me. And again, it's because I only can have 2 contenders when you think about my criteria. But also, I still think they're just not there yet. I think that they're not a big piece away, but they're still something away from me to be convinced. I've seen Anthony Edwards during the regular season ghost in a few games where he'll have under 10 points. which I don't like to see, and I don't want to see that translate to the playoffs. I got it. I mean, we'll see what happens come playoff time. Again, it's the fact that they're fresh, they're a very new team, and I think that an experienced team like the Nuggets can pick them apart very easily in a series.
I don't think, in terms of being picked apart, defensively they are stout. That's something that won't change in the playoffs. What my bigger concern is the half court offense in clutch moments, because there's been not much continuity. Anthony Edwards has been, good for the most part, but on and off at times.
Which is what concerns me.
Cat is very hot and cold. Jaden McDaniels at the 3 can space the floor nicely at times. At other times, it's more of a hindrance in terms of having like a knockdown shooter for a playmaker to kick out to. With that being said, though, I've seen teams get hot. And when you're having the best defense in the league, even though they're average offensively, they have who I think is budding into a superstar caliber player in Anthony Edwards. I've been high on Ant for a while. So I think they are contenders to me because I see the personnel they have and I see a possibility of it happening because of how incredible their defense is. I don't think I think they would like lose games themselves. I don't think they let teams beat them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, fair enough.
So if they get hot, who knows?
I'd say pretenders for me. I'm kind of with Sainey on the whole like first year type of thing where like you look at it, but the difference between a team like the Timberwolves and a team like, I don't know, the Kings last year, for example, like the Kings, you knew for a fact last year were going to bring you the offense. They were just flooding with offense, 3 city, all that. But defensively, they weren't really like anything to really worry about, right? With the Timberwolves, it's a different story because with their defense, like it's been just very, very in your face all year, top of the league consistently, all that stuff. Anthony Edwards is, like Hoop said, budding into a superstar. I love Ant. I think that Ant is going to have something to prove in the playoffs this year. I can see that for sure. But like Hoop also said, Karl Anthony Towns is the one that I don't really know because for his career, I think he's like 18 a game in the postseason. Like 47% from the field, sub 35 from 3, something like that. Like it's just underwhelming for someone who you've seen consistently get you at points in his career 23, 24 a game in the regular season. And then come postseason time, it's like Sainey said, or whoever said, hot and cold. So those things, and I'm Rudy Gobert. That's another thing. For as great as a regular season defender that Rudy Gobert is, hopefully he's in a system now where that defense can be very impactful in the postseason throughout a stretch of a run.
Nah, because they have individual defenders now.
Yeah, they do. That's the thing. Yeah.
Do you remember the Utah dilemma where there was just a funnel?
Yeah.
They got Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards. They can defend a little bit.
Yeah. Meanwhile,
Jaden McDaniels
Utah,
a lot.
He is. Yeah. In Utah, he had Spida and Joe Ingles. Like it was. It's not
I'm talking about Joe Shiesty.
Ole.
I'm very interested to talk about this team, and I want to go first, obviously, with the 1 seed in Oklahoma. Pretenders, and it breaks my heart, and here's why. And I would genuinely, there's one thing that holds me back from putting them over the Nuggets. If we had this one thing down, I'm putting them over the Nuggets, because guess what? We swept the Nuggets in the season series. We're 3-0 against them, right? There's nothing that tells me we can't beat these guys in a series except for one crucial thing: rebounding. 2 crucial things. And Josh Giddey.
Those are my 2 points.
Yeah. Rebounding is a hell of an issue for us. I think what Presti is doing is, instead of bringing in a veteran rebounder like Andre Drummond, I guess we're going to build through the draft or sign someone in free agency. Fine. I'm never going to doubt Sam Presti's ways. Maybe he wants to really build the team and find a way to keep a exciting young core. How does a guy like Andre Drummond mesh with Jalen Williams doing TikTok dances? I don't know. Like, there's things that I don't know, right? There's things I don't know. And Andre Drummond did Chet dirty earlier in the season. You know, like, do they want to have that in the locker room? You know, Chet's welcome to the NBA moment was an ankle breaker by Andre Drummond. Like, do we really want to bring that into an Oklahoma jersey? But I'll say this: you put a great rebounder or just have some sort of rebounding presence in Oklahoma and put Case and Wallace or Aaron Wiggins in the starting lineup instead of Josh Giddey. And I know Josh Giddey only plays like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, whatever. Like he doesn't play a lot of minutes. My issue with Giddey, and if you notice this with all Oklahoma games, and it was a prime example yesterday when the Suns started on a 17-4 run, Giddey slows down the pace of our game because he needs the ball in his hands and he's not going to get it in the first and running with the first lineup, right?
Mhm.
He needs to run the second unit because at least then he can table set for those guys and the game kind of can flow through him. I think with the exact amount of minutes he's getting, but him just coming off the bench would be a lot more beneficial to both us and him. He'll look better and the team will look better because when you have Josh Giddey running with the starting lineup, again, he just kind of, bro, have you seen how many open looks this guy has gotten this season? Like teams do not give him any respect. They give him the Tony Allen treatment, but we don't get the Tony Allen defense, right?
True.
Like it's a very con for con situation with Josh Giddey, and I don't think he deserves to be in the starting lineup whatsoever anymore. I think that again, him coming with the second unit makes a lot more sense. I don't know why we're the first seed, so can I really say anything? But it seems to me that Oklahoma's games tend to be Giddey's in the starting lineup. We go down big in the first, and then somehow we're leading by the end of the first quarter because we go on a 10-0 run now that other guys come in. Quick side point: Lou Dort thinks he's Steph Curry sometimes with some of
He
his shot selection.
does.
I don't know what like sometimes he needs to chill out.
What was it in the play-in? He went like 9 for 9 against the Warriors. Not the play-in, the in-season tournament. He went like 9 for 9 against the
He's
Warriors.
fire.
I'm
He's
watching the game
very
like,
hot and
yo.
cold. Like he is fire. But his shot selection is, you know what I mean. But still, Giddey needs to get out to starting lineup, and we need a good rebounder. And they're contenders, but they're not this season. It breaks my heart.
For me, pretenders, and the main reason that I had was, I'm just gonna say this: they're a Josh Giddey trade away from me looking at them potentially as contenders. This season is great because you see what you can do with him, but at the same time, you see what you're missing, like with him in the lineup. Like you said, the rebounding aspect is there. The offense is just kind of not clicking the way that you would think that it would click for a first seed team, but you, the OKC fan, can see it, Sainey, right? Like it's like you said, Josh Giddey's not going to get the same shot attempts or touches that he wants compared to if he runs with the second unit, because like you said, he can feed guys and set the table and all that. He's a great player, but they're giving him the Tony Allen treatment. There's no defense that he's bringing to the table that can make up for that. So at the end of the day, for me, you look at him and you say, okay, you see the talent, you see the potential in him. Great trade value, gotta have it. So, and OKC has so much like in the bank that they can just pull out and be like, here, you Josh, get in the first. What you want? Let's play. And then bada bing, bada boom. But I look at them right now and I just think like because of also another thing, Chet's been great this year, been phenomenal. Not rookie of the year, unfortunately, but second place ain't bad. He's been consistently solid at the end of the day. The only problem is that I don't know, like with Chet being, put at the 5, it's been kind of interesting. Like at first I thought it was going a little bit well, but then I started to slowly see like, maybe Chet should run the 4, maybe we should get a solid 5. Like you said, you get a solid 5 focused on just rebounding and interior presence. Chet can cook easily. Pressure's off of him. He can go get boards when he needs to and play, help side, weak side, whatever. But the pressure and the load is taken off of him because he can really do a lot more for this team at the 4 than he can the 5. I get this. I get what you see there, like with him running the 5. But go get you a rebounder and you'll be straight. This team will be straight.
I will say, like in terms of Chet playing the 5 and them having like an interior force, what I've noticed a lot with the Knicks is that Jalen Brunson has really like upped his game when Mitchell Robinson was out. Also helps because Randall was off the floor with the injury. But even having like a 5-foot floater, like a little push shot, is spacing to a cutting guard. So bringing Andre Drummond in might not be the exact fit you want because Chet can
he's just a name I'm throwing out there in terms of rebounding.
Go get Miles Turner. He unhappy. He's been unhappy for years.
My whole point with the pretender thing was Giddey, the rebounding, and Lou Dort's shooting consistency, because I know he's hot this year, but historically he is not exactly a knockdown 3-point shooter in the closing moments of a game. Like in terms of life on the line, you got to kick out to a role player. There's many you take over Lou Dort. There's many you take over Josh Giddey.
Yeah.
In terms of you plug and play a little KCP right there. Whew.
Yeah.
But I
feel
don't
it.
think
I'm telling,
yet
and the
for
thing is,
Thunder.
we have the assets, and Presti better pull the trigger on something, right?
I was upset you guys didn't try to get some sort of like Laurie Markkinen type or a Bruce Brown.
I think the asking price was too high, and I think that Presti's ideology now is just to wait for free agency and go from there. Because I think the cap space is nice on our team. We're like all on rookie contracts except for Shea.
It's nice though. You don't really got. I mean, it's kind of playing out where you don't need to pay Giddey because you don't want him.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
So you
is
just
nice.
pay,
Now you play
Shea
J-Dub.
and J Will. Yeah.
Yeah, and Chet will
And
probably get a
that's-
bag. Chet will
J-Dub.
probably get a bag.
J-Dub.
J-Dub is
is-
nice.
is-
Hey,
that
I will.
boy
I mean, we're
nice.
nearing the end of our episode. I will forever, ever stay 10 toes on the fact that I put like J-Dub. Who put you on J-Dub? I literally, for the Spotify users, Hoop is muted. He just mouthed you did. I literally from day one, I was like, this guy is going to be a star in this league. Like you could see it. You could see the hustle, bro. When he was literally getting solid minutes off the bench, I texted Hoop. I said, go make a J-Dub video. I promise you. This is a guy that nobody knows about right now. He will do great. Fun fact, he was supposed to come on the podcast when he just got drafted and he only had like 30K followers on TikTok. I messaged him and I was like, I commented on his video. He replied back. He said, when? He was down to hop on. We didn't get it worked out because he didn't answer me after that. Broke my heart. But we were supposed to get J-Dub on an episode, man. And because I knew, bro, from day one, I've been a J-Dub supporter. I love the guy. I love his game. He's going to be in Oklahoma for a very long time. And that's a great way to wrap up this episode. I don't know if you guys have any closing thoughts you want to give, but I'm done.
I got one. 52, bro. 52. That's somebody's career high. What are we talking about? Why? All right, that's enough. All right, hope you good. What you got?
I guess all I'll say is, I mean, I'm a Knicks fan, but in my West team, that would be Kawhi and them. I need them so badly to beat the Celtics.
We need to see a Kawhi.
We have
like
a couple
Clippers ring.
Very close viewers, longtime viewers who are Celtics fans.
G-Money.
G-Money.
Screw Derek White. He is so good. And I love him too, but like I just, man, you know how I feel about Tatum and Brown. Like, bro, they're getting saved by these such good role players.
No, it's wild too because
Derek White is crazy.
Yeah, Derek White.
Wild,
you remember when he before he went bald, like everybody was bullying him about his hairline, and the thing he was cooking back then with the hair. He goes bald and gets even better. Like what?
Derek White's actually insane.
Yo, shout out Derek White. Bald. Shout out Derek White.
This is a great way to wrap up the episode. Thank you again for listening. We will see you guys next week. This was a great little mini series we did with the East and West. It's going to be fun come playoff time. I'm really going to enjoy those episodes. But obviously, subscribe, leave a comment. If you're on Spotify, make sure to interact with the poll, Apple Music, whatever it may be. Make sure to give a rating. Just show support to us. It really helps out. And we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.